Hello, my loves, and welcome to another Fluffenhammer adjacent. I think you know what we're going to be talking about today. It was the LVO recently, and we had all of the lovely reveals. Oh, there's my phone going off and absolutely ruining this recording. Fabulous. Thank you. Great introduction. Great start. Let's see if that continues the tone. But wow, I mean, there's lots of stuff in the LVO that was really interesting. There was loads of stuff for the Soulblight Gravelords over in Age of Sigmar, and it's wonderful. New Barrow Knights, new White Kings. There's a new model for Prince Vordry on his zombie dragon, a new zombie dragon unmounted just as a beast, and it is glorious. But for the purposes of this video, considering, where my obsessions lie, which, given the subject, is actually quite appropriate, you kind of know what we're going to be focusing down on. There was an Emperor's Children reveal, and in the build-up to this, there was lots of humming and hawing about what this could potentially be. There were some more cynical voices saying, oh, it's only going to be a character, they're just going to show off one noise marine or something like that. I think it's pretty much most of the range that they've showed off. There might be one or two things that they haven't shown as yet, but I think it's pretty much the entirety of the range thus far. Certainly the first wave of this range. And, oh, wow. I've got to say, it was surprising, but I like it. Surprising in a very, very good way. Um, First of all, I mean, we've already seen Fulgrim, who we've spoken about, and he's fantastic. Fulgrim is just beautiful. There's going to be a book. There's going to be an accompanying Black Library novel called Fulgrim the Perfect Son, by Jude Reed, which I'm in. I'm in. I'll be buying it. Of course, I'll be buying it. How can I not? I'm very, very much in. Maybe there'll be a review up here at some point. I don't know. But the miniatures, I mean, I'm actually really surprised with the aesthetic of these miniatures. There's something very unusual about them. There is an odd note of restraint about them, which you may be listening to this and thinking, Slaanesh, restraint, that can't be right. But no, it works. It really, really works. They are tainted, they are twisted, they are transformed by the warping powers of chaos, but they haven't gone down the same degree as they have with, say, the Death Guard range, for example. It's actually much more coherent than the Death Guard range. And don't get me wrong, that's not a slight against the Death Guard range at all. I love the Death Guard range. It may be amongst my favorite ranges Games Workshop have ever put out, and they are glorious to put together and to paint and to convert. They're one of my favorites. They are absolutely one of my favorites. But these guys, they've really taken this idea that they are at base Marines, but they are corrupted. So the aesthetic of the Marines is very much there. It's just that there's all of this embellishment and little bits and pieces added on, and it really, really works. What surprised me, the impression that I got from them, was that they've looked back at certain design cues from previous eras of Games Workshop. They've looked at the artwork for Slaanesh Marines and Slaanesh in general from way, way, way back, like the Realms of Chaos books, Slaves to Darkness. They've looked at the aesthetic of both the artwork and the miniatures from that era and brought that up to date. They've incorporated it into these miniatures, and by God, if it doesn't work. I mean, I'm loving this. I may be, I am absolutely biased, and I am preconditioned in many respects to love this. Slaanesh is my favorite Chaos God. The Emperor's Children are one of my favorite Chaos Legions. I love them, and I can't help but love these. The first big miniature that we had on the page that's revealed is the new Lucius. And Lucius, as is the case with the key Chaos characters, he exemplifies everything that's essential about the range, about the Emperor's Children range. You can see the design influences filtering down amongst the hoi polloi, the normal troops and the noise marines and the whatnot. He's absolutely stunning. What they've gone for with him, and this is true of the entire range, is a sort of perverse beauty. He's elegant and he's dynamic, but he's also disturbing. There's something very Cenobite about him. He is wholly corrupted. The face, for example, there is nothing left of the handsome swordsman that he used to be once upon a time. He is like a Cenobite. His head is slightly distorted and swollen. There's scars all over it. He has this smile, this face, this mouth that's too wide. It's like he's cut the edges of his mouth, and there's a very long tongue protruding. He's absolutely brilliant. In fact, the more I look at it, the more I like this miniature. All of the updated Chaos characters, the key Chaos characters, Adaman, Typhus, Khan, Abaddon, who else have we got? Well, basically, all of the ones that have been updated since over the last decade or so have been wonderful. Ahriman in particular, Ahriman on his disc, one of my favorites. I'm painting him at the moment, and he is mwah, absolutely sublime. This is great. He's gonna be. I mean, looking at him, he's gonna be a bitch to transport because the whip. He has this incredibly long demonic whip that's sort of protruding from his armor, and it curls around him. It looks very fragile. It looks very fragile indeed. But boy, if it doesn't look good. I mean, one of the details I really like, apart from the fact that he's standing on an Iron Hands lieutenant, which is a little bit of a slap to the face for the old Iron Hands there, considering that Fulgrim murdered their daddy. He's holding the Leia blade, the demon blade that originally possessed Fulgrim. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I mean, he's gorgeous. He's absolutely beautiful. And yes, I'll be getting him and I'll be painting him because, well, why wouldn't you? The next miniature is one of the sort of Chaos Lord equivalents. They're called Lords Exultant, and according to the blurb, their whole shtick, they're very Emperor's children. They are seeking out new sensations, new experiences, but they regard the battlefield as a canvas, as a grand theatre in which to conduct their art. They consider things like strategy as art, the art of slaughter. Um, and the other Emperor's children follow them because they are these preening, charismatic lords of depthless imagination by all accounts, in all of its cruelty. The miniature is fantastic. They're essentially like the chaos, almost like the chaos lords of the Emperor's Children, or the Chaos Lord equivalents. And the miniature is just so good. The more I look at it, the more I like it. It's a multi-part kit, so you can assemble it in all manner of ways. You can give him what looks like a power fist and this weird sort of sword spear. He's got like a symbol of Slanesh on his back and all of these robes and silks and things. He's also got the classic single flesh stocking over one leg. I mean, absolutely stunning. It's a multi-part kit as well, so you can give him multiple different heads, one of which is bare and very mutated. He's got a sonic pistol, which is a new weapon, which is really lovely. And you can also give him a whip as well, which is just lovely. That is the more I'm looking at it, actually, the more I'm thinking, you know what it looks like? It looks like the old John Blanche artwork of Slanesh Marines from the really early days of Games Workshop. Again, that seems to be the aesthetic they've gone for with these guys. They've really gone back and they've incorporated all of those classic design elements into these updated miniatures, and oh my god, I love it. I just love it. It works. It works. I love it so much. There's also, I mean, this was a shocker for me. I thought there was only going to be one Emperor's Children character alongside Lucius, but no, no, no. There's a Lord Cacophonist who's essentially the Noise Marine Lord, and he's immense. He's absolutely immense. He's got like a big organ on his back. Uh, Actually, I should have rephrased that, shouldn't I? Considering that we're talking about Slanesh and the Emperor's Children, we really shouldn't be talking about big organs, should we? But There we go. It's said now. And he is the Emperor's Children Lord. He's a bit of an update actually of the old Emperor's Children Lord from 3.5 days. He's not as corrupted as he is. He's a bit cleaner than that Lord, but wow, it's a lovely miniature. And apparently he can join your Noise Marines and he can give your Noise Marine squad sustained hits. That's bonkers. That is absolutely bonkers. Noise Marines with sustained hits. Yeah, brilliant. And he can also apparently disrupt the warp with the noises, the sounds that he makes, which is really, really cool, right? Again, there seem to be several different builds of him depending on what weapons you want to give him. So he's not only got the sonic power of his Doom Siren, which is what the organ on his back is, but he's got two pistols as well, which I don't know if they are like the noise pistols. I'd assume they are, which means he's going to be putting out loads of firepower. But yeah, he's an absolute beaut. You're going to be wanting those to go with your Noise Marines, obviously. Speaking of, we've seen these guys, and oh my god, this is something really interesting, actually. The way this army is structured is really interesting. Unlike the other cult legions, the Noise Marines are not the main troops. They actually occupy the same slot as Devastators in Imperial Space Marines and Havocs in Chaos Space Marines. They're the heavy weapons guys. And that really makes sense. What I like about that is it's clear Games Workshop have been paying attention to how the Black Library writers have been writing these guys. Because in the Black Library books that feature the Emperor's Children, the Noise Marines are this very special subcult within the Emperor's Children who are they're trying to recreate the original birthing scream of Slaanesh when Slaanesh burst into existence after absorbing all the souls of the Eldari. There were the god gave this incredible birthing scream which still echoes throughout creation and the warp, and the Noise Marines are kind of trying to tap into that. They're trying to recreate it. they are they are not numerous. They operate slightly apart from the main armies of the Emperor's Children. They have this slightly priestly element to them in the books, and it really, really works, and it looks like that's what they've gone for here. They are absolutely beautiful. They look very much like the Horus Heresy cacophony, but more mutated, more distorted. Yeah, they look great. They look absolutely wonderful. I like, in particular, their squad leader, the Disharmonist. It's a great name for a start. They've also got, I mean, one of the things I like about the range, they've got hooves, which is really interesting. That seems to be a sort of standard mutation here, which I really, really like. Yeah, it's the first time ever that we've had a dedicated plastic Noise Marine kit, and they haven't disappointed. You can only take them in squads of 6, which is the sacred number of Slaanesh, which is really nice. But even so, you can take 2 Blast Masters in these squads, which, ouch. If they retain the profile that they have in their index entry, ouch. Because the Blast Master is one of the best long range weapons in the game. It's really good. These guys are going to be, ha ha ha, nasty. And again, like, carrying on this interesting army dynamic where the army seems to be designed to emphasize the sins of Slaanesh, like the various forms of obsession that Slaanesh typifies or exemplifies. There's a new unit. There's a new unit of elite Emperor's Children called the Flawless Blades, and they're basically like the Palatine blades that they had back in the Great Crusade before they were all sort of Slaaneshed up, you know. Um, and their whole shtick, they're a bit like Lucius. Their whole shtick is that they are obsessed with the art of blade work. And they are basically almost like preening harlequins or acrobats on the battlefield. They make a display, a theatre out of the atrocities that they wreak. Their whole, and they are not, which is interesting, they are not possessed. They're not possessed Slanesh Chaos Space Marines, but they are heavily, heavily mutated. They are probably the most heavily gifted, quote unquote, of the Emperor's Children in this new range. But that is as a result of them having demonic patrons. Apparently, they seek out patrons in the war or in the realm of Slanesh, who then goad them on and gift them with new mutations and new powers as long as they continue to amuse them. But if they fail in that, then they are punished, and that's manifested in the game by if they don't get kills in the assault phase after they've appealed to their patron, then they die. They take wounds, which is really cool. It's very chaos. It's very Slanesh. I really like that. In fact, these guys may be my favorites. They are the most overtly Slanesh of all the miniatures that we've seen thus far. Very mutated. A lot of them have got like bared midriffs, and a lot of them also have the iconic single breast of Slanesh as well, which I really, really like. Beautiful, really cool. I can't wait to see more of them, to see like the whole range of those guys. And again, this is a real surprise, and it's so interesting. The organization of the Emperor's Children is so different from the other cult legions. The other cult legions, like their classic cult unit, like your Plague Marines for your Death Guard, your Rubricae for your Thousand Sons, and your Khorne Berserkers for your World Eaters. They are the core of the army. They are the most numerous battle line troops. That's not true for the Emperor's Children. They have these two very diverse elite units in the form of the Noise Marines and the Flawless Blades, both emphasizing very different aspects both of warfare and of Slanesh. Then you have these two battle line troop choices, which are kind of like they're kind of like your standard legionaries from a Chaos Space Marine army, but they're not. You've got one which are called the Infractors, and they are classically Slanesh, obsessed with experiencing every sensation the galaxy has to offer. So they hurl themselves into close combat after dosing themselves up on all sorts of hideous stims and chemicals, and they're obsessed with sort of proving their own superiority over their opponents. They look down on other space marines, be they imperial or chaos or whatever. They consider themselves to be the manifestations of perfection, and they are obsessed with proving that to their fellows. They are stunning. Again, these are the guys where there's that they very much manifest that aforementioned restraint in the range. They do look like Chaos Space Marines, but they have certain subtle Slaneshi elements going on. There's this gradation of corruption throughout the range, which I really, really love. So these guys, your Infractors, they look like Chaos Space Marines that are just they're just down the path of Slaneshi worship. Then you've got things like the Noise Marines and the Palatine, the Flawless Blades, which are wholly corrupted and much more elaborate. It really works. They're lovely, lovely miniatures. Apparently, according to the actual video that came out, the reveal video, the Infractors can I think these are these the ones that can infiltrate? I don't know. I don't know whether it's these ones or the other ones or it's the tormentors. I think these ones can scout. I think that's right. Either way, that's really impressive. If these guys can scout, that gives them an extra move at the beginning of the game. Also, all of the units in the Emperor's Children are really fast. They have greater speed than their Imperial cousins and most of their Chaos Space Marine cousins too. So these guys are going to be able to absolutely dominate the battlefield. Absolutely dominate it. they're going to be very difficult to fight against in certain respects, simply because they can cover so much of the battlefield. But as miniatures, these are stunning. I mean, I know you're probably getting sick of me saying that, but I really, Slaanesh, the aesthetics of Slaanesh really are my thing. And these are a very elaborate, very interesting multi-part kit with lots of little like ornamentations and embellishments and heads you can use. I love them. I absolutely love them. Now, these are the close combat ones, but there is another Chaos Space Marine Legionary unit called Tormentors. And these guys are the exact opposite. They're the exact opposite. So these guys emphasize long range combat. They have these ornamented bolt guns, and they are obsessed with the art of the long range kill. Um, and these are the guys that have infiltrate. I mean, that's really cool. You've got infiltrating troops on the one hand with really high speed, and then you have troops that can also scout with really high speed. This army's going to be so mobile, so mobile. Oh wow! I mean, they are distinct from the infractors too. There are subtle differences between them, and it's a lovely, lovely range thus far. I am very excited. But do you know what else makes it very exciting? If you watch the reveal video, it was confirmed that Slaanesh demons are in this book. So this range is massive. It is not just a Chaos Space Marine army, the Emperor's Children. It's a Slaanesh army. It's basically a return to the old Demonkin style of book. And I am so excited by that. There's so many different army builds you can do on the back of that. You've got demonettes, you've got keepers of secrets, you've got heralds, you've got fiends, you've got seekers. You've got all of the various chariots, the Hellflayer, all of that stuff that fight alongside your Emperor's Children. Apparently, the book has 6 detachments in it, and that's a lot. That's a lot for this kind of arm. I imagine what it's going to be. There's going to be 3 that emphasize the Chaos Space Marine side and 3 that emphasize the Demon side. That would make sense. And I'm so excited about that simply because I'm from a time when, yeah, demons always fought alongside Chaos Space Marines and were included in their army list. I hated it when they separated them. I really hated it. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. Yes, demons do deserve an army of their own. Absolutely, that's fine. But separating them from Chaos Space Marines, particularly the cult legions, has never made sense. Fluff wise, it has never made sense. The cult legions have always been portrayed fighting alongside the demons of their gods, and including them again, it just makes the most sense. It expands the ranges, it expands the army lists. They're going to sell more miniatures that way from a purely corporate or mercenary perspective, and for us, it opens up our hobbying potential. I mean, this is great. This is great. It feels really old school, but updated for a new audience, and I'm in. I am so in. And also, we also got their army rule, which is thrill seekers, and basically what it means is they can shoot or declare a charge in any turn in which they fell back. Which, as you know, if you've seen units that have that ability, like Chosen in your Chaos Space Marine armies, it's killer. It's a really good ability. For a whole army to have that is a bit bonkers. On top of all the stuff that the units can do. So they have that ability, but they're also really fast, and they also have, certain units have scouts, certain units have infiltrators. These guys are going to be maneuverable and really fast. I'm so excited. And I want that box set. The Champions of Slaanesh box set that's got the codex in it. Oh my god. I am so getting that. Very excited. It's yeah, I am. I'm actually buzzing from this reveal. The more I look at them, the more I like them. I'm telling you, I'm so in. I'm so in, guys. Can't tell you. Until next time, my loves. Bye bye.